good evening, family. Happy Black Love Thursdays. Happy Black Love Thursdays. I want to welcome you all as you come on to our our beautiful program. I want to emphasize the word our. It's our program, family. Um, Even though you may see our faces and hear our voices, this is a group and a collective program that is interactive. This is a dialogue, or correction, this is a monologue, not a dialogue. So happy Black Love Thursday. With that being said, take the time to start inviting people to your program. Share and invite. Share and invite. We bring up various different topics that affects our community both positive and negatively, but all together we're solution oriented. So we want the more wise people that we have in our group dialogue session, the better we can get to better responses and solutions. So, family, share and invite. Thank you. Please share and invite family. Um, while you're sharing and invite, I want to touch on the topic. We will say it again, but for those who came on early, while you're sharing and invite, you can kind of marinate on a topic and some of the things that you might want to say as it relates to the topic. And the topic is this: Can can people have a successful marriage or relationship when one is a Christian or the other one a Muslim or any two other combos? Muslim, Hebrew, Israelite, uh, Buddhist, Christian. Can two people come together and have a have a successful relationship slash marriage if the parties are having separate faiths? Think about it for a minute. And for those who are new to our program, the Black Love Thursday is a day dedicated for uplifting Black love. And whether you're married, single, or divorced, we firmly believe that we have been programmed and conditioned to love everybody else except for ourselves. So this is the day we want to take the time to uplift one to the other. We have taught how to tear each other down, but that has never been reversed, that it took flight in loving each other to build each other's up. So we didn't heard the men ain't this and the women ain't that. Today is a day not for that. Today is a day that our sisters, our queens, we uplift. We put them on a pedestal. We magnify, they shine. And the same thing with the brothers. Sisters, uplift the brother today, whether you're with them or not. And it doesn't have to be a romantic upliftment. Hold on for a second, family. My son is having some technical difficulties. Um, so, sisters, take the time out to uplift, say something positive to a brother. You know, brother, how's your day? You looking good today, King. Keep on with your strut. Whatever it is, to increase the encouragement, the upliftment, and the exaltation of one another so that we can see each other in our true lights, which is kings and queens. So, this is the purpose of Black Love Thursday. Like I said before, our our program is a program for discussing very issues. I'm going to repeat the issue one more time. Like I said before. For some strange reason, family, I can't see who's signing on. I just know that we have people on, and we got people going on in multiple venues. Whereas We have a watch party as well. And okay, now I see you, Keisha. Um, I don't know what's going on, but let me make sure it's shared to our group. So, with that being said, I want to say a couple things before we get into the crux of our show. We have various guests on who some are experts by way of paper, way of discipline and study. Some are expert by just way of life. You don't need someone to confer on you on things that you have lived, things that you have experienced. That's a well qualifier within itself. So we have various guests on to come on and express their different views on different topics. And the only thing that we ask, be authentic, be real, be true to your thought. But we ask that when we disagree, we're grown, we disagree respectfully. Um, and we hope that everybody comes into our program with an open mind because that very same person that you disagree with might open up your mind to a train of thought that brings you into a different knowledge of a thing. So, with that being said, family, happy Black Love Thursdays. I'm inviting all of you all across the country, whoever can hear my voice, this Sunday. Now, it's a whole weekend, but if you can't make the weekend celebration for the National Savior Day Convention, at least this Sunday in Chicago, the United Center, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be delivering the Savior Day address. Doors open up at 3 p.m. Central Time. Let me kill some of the myths. No, you don't have to be a Muslim. There are a lot of non-Muslims that are in attendance that come out and enjoy themselves. So come out, enjoy yourself, bring your family, come with an open mind and a loving heart because there's nothing but love in that room. Um, if you need tickets, you can go to www.noi.org. There's a lot of brothers and sisters, especially in Chicagoland, who are selling tickets as well. And it's a beautiful experience. And not just the experience. Yes, I share it every year via website, via live when I'm there on Facebook. But it's nothing like being in a room with predominantly black folks. And yes, there are other races there, but predominantly black folks. And you can feel the love. You can feel the energy. And you walk out of there with a different type of experience. So I want to encourage all that can go this Sunday, United Center, 3 o'clock p.m., the doors open to hear the National Savior's Day address. With that being said, I'm going to digress and I'm going to let our resident Rep Wesley Snipes, our chocolate drop, our brother from another mother, our chef, watch your mouth. I'm going to step aside and let my co-host come on and say a couple words about the Black Love Family page, different things that he and his wife and his groups are doing. And with that being said, family, don't hesitate to share your groups. Don't hesitate to share what you're into. We are not possessive. We are not jealous. We're trying to link black folks up in any facet that we can, whether it be love, whether it be business, whether it be entrepreneurship, whatever it is, we'd rather be unified than divided. So our brother, who you can see is taking advantage of all that sun because his beautiful melanated skin is shining, is glowing. And ain't nothing wrong with a brother uplifting another brother, complimenting another brother. We ain't no homophobes here. I don't see my brother in that way, and he know I don't see him his way. But we ain't ashamed to say and show I love you, black man. Go here, brother Mar.
Hey, I love you too, man. I resent that remark though, bro. I'm more like Makai Pfeiffer, Tyrese type. You understand? So we got to correct that. Well, peace and blessings, family. Thank you so much for coming on to Black Love Thursday. As you know, we're unapologetically about our people. We have another program as well on Tuesday, and we start that program at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. We would love to have you on this platform. As my brother said, we are definitely all about us coming together as one and empowering the people. If you have a platform, listen, it doesn't matter. We are here to empower the people. We are here to advertise whatever you are doing that is positive, that is going to enlighten, strengthen, and uplift the people. Okay, so we definitely would love to have you on. We need some sisters to come on as well on Super Sister Saturday. All right, we've been waiting for them to take action. I know we get a lot of junk being talked about the brothers, but me and Mike been holding down. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But Super Sister Saturday, we wait for some queens to come on and hold it down for Super Sister Saturday. So the queens are gonna work that out. Their normal time is at 3 o'clock p.m. on Saturday, Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so again, we need somebody for that. All jokes aside, we know that the queens are the ones that hold together the family. That is the bottom line. Here, we put our queens on the throne and we keep them there. There's no dethroning of our queens here. Our queens are not whores. They're not female dogs. They are exactly that. And we will love and protect them and we will encourage them. That's all I have to say about that. So, hopefully enjoy the program on this evening. It's getting ready to go down. It's the showdown. Let's do it.
And with that being said, brother Amar, do you mind introducing our two queens that are on with us tonight?
All right. Okay, let's start with Kimberly. She is a motivational speaker. She has her own program as well, as far as talking. She is an entrepreneur. The queen is holding it down as it relates to empowering our people as well. She talks about topics that a lot of people are afraid to talk about. A true lioness in this jungle. She holds it down for the people. We have our good sister Lakeisha Muhammad over there. I mean, I heard she's a wallflower. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that though. A true lioness in her own right as well, a true queen that holds it down. She is also an entrepreneur. She does traveling and what have you. So those of you who trying to take a vacation, listen, you want to talk to Lakeisha Muhammad. I'm trying to tell you, she will hook you up. She will give you the best deals. Wherever you want to go, she will lead the way for you and your family. So be sure to reach out and touch her. Am I supposed to introduce you too?
Well, with that being said, before I ask the first question to our panelists, and I'm not going to ask many questions. I'm going to ask a couple of questions to get the conversation started. And once it takes its own, um, births its own course, then we're going to go with that. Brother Mar, I'm having some difficulties, brother, with
Okay.
um, seeing who is signed on and all that. So,
Okay.
and now you know I like to acknowledge our people
Okay,
because
so we have Baba Clay in the building. Of course, we want to acknowledge our elder first. We have Queen Jessica out there. Of course, my Queen Amani Amari. We have Queen Tamikia is in the building. Um, King Dwayne Muhammad is in the building. King the King Muhammad is in the building. Uh, I believe you say it's Jesus, if I'm not mistaken. Powell is in the building.
Jesus, Jesus. Like,
Okay. King Brian Williams is in the building, and Queen Mother Rhonda is in the building.
okay, family and sisters, Sister Kim, since you're new to our program, can you kind of further introduce yourself, who you are, what do you do, and if you got any programs coming up and events coming up in the near future?
Okay, hello everyone. Good evening. I'm so glad to be on here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I am a life coach and I am an empowerment speaker. Um, my slogan is empowering you to live your best life on purpose. That in part on purpose means it has to be intentional. You have to do the work. So as a life coach, like any regular coach, an athletic coach, they're right there with you in the trenches to do that work. And when you're doing self work, it can get a little ugly and a little bloody when you're being revealed to yourself. So I help you with that and through that process. Um, Also, I have a platform where I do shows weekly, and I do, kind of clickbait titles. But when you come in, we have a real conversation. And my thing is to just help people to provoke thought. And Brother Michael, as you said, on my platform, we want to intellectually articulate our point of view, but with respect. So that's what I do. I do have an event coming up on March 9th. Um, I'm not sure if I can say the name of the event on here, so I'll just say follow me. It's a bit of a catchy title, a risque title, but it's really to bring the sisters together. It's open to everybody, but it's really to bring us sisters together to kind of start putting ourselves in a better position to love ourselves. I'll just say that. So that's about it.
Thank you. And Sister Keisha, before we start, do you want to reintroduce yourself and introduce yourself to those who are new to us?
Everybody know me. No, just playing.
Uh,
I am the little sister of the group. As Brother Amar said, I do have my own travel agency, Exquisite Places Travel. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. But as Brother Michaels also knows, I recently moved here. I'm here in Detroit. Um, we are going to start back Super Sisters Saturday, so Brother Amar, stay tuned for that. But yes, for those sisters that are interested in coming and being a part of it, let's work out so that way we're consistent. We have topics that are relevant. So, like I said, anybody that is interested in that, please contact me here on Facebook. Sister Rashida, Sister Amani, those sisters as well, if you all are interested in that. But like I said, I'm the baby sister, and I'm just ready to, get into this conversation.
Good. Thank you, little sister.
Mhm.
And with that said, these are the members of the Black Love Family Group. I sent Sister Kimberly invite. I don't know if she accepted yet, but she will soon accept it. I got faith in my sister. And I, our group, even though it's a Black Love Family page, is actually in your groups. All are welcome that support Black love, who are positive and who are looking to not only for answers, but to be an answer themselves. Our group is not a dating site. However, if you're fortunate enough to find your significant other in there, praise be to God. But this is not a dating site where we sampling one another for the simple pleasures of one another. If you're going to date with intention, date intentionally within our site. We don't want that messiness in our site. Of course, you all are grown, but be be mindful you're representing something that's bigger than yourself. With that being said, I don't want to put you on the spot, Kim, but I'm gonna let you start off. I'm gonna let you start off on your answer to the question and expound on why. I know it's kind of a yes or no question, but expound on your answer. Why? Can two people who are of different faiths get together and have either a successful relationship slash marriage? Rather one be from Christianity to Islam, Buddhism, Hebrew, Israelite, whatever the two combos are, even up until one is a believer of God and the other one is an atheist. Can you see if those type of people can be successful in a long-term, long-enduring relationship? Your answer, Sister Kim, and please expound on it, Queen.
Yes, King Michael. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so let me give this, let me be very candid, right? I was raised a Christian, and I was raised to believe the scripture that says, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers, to mean that if you're apostolic, which I was raised apostolic, and someone else is Baptist or another religion, y'all are unequally yoked. You cannot be together. That's what I was taught. So because of that, I missed out on some wonderful relationships because they were not raised with the same religious background or doctrine that I was. It wasn't until I became an adult woman and had my own relationship with God and experiences that I found that, yes, I can absolutely have a relationship with someone that has a different religious or doctrinal background than I have. So short answer to that, I would say yes. The reason I say yes is because number one, I've done it. Number two, I believe that it's really just more so about your core values. Do we have some of the same core values as it relates to what's important into the relationship? My father, so, I talk about my dad all the time. He's amazing. He's 69 and he used to work for the correctional center. And they had like a union and they would have to do these write-ups about complaints. So my father was a Christian, and there was a Muslim brother that those two, they stood together and against racism, actually. And while they had some different doctrinal beliefs, they were like the closest. They held each other down because they were really together coming against, like, racism, right? So they had that in common. But also they became really great friends because they would talk about how they were as husbands, how they raised their families, different things like that. My father found more likeness with this Muslim brother than he did even with his Christian brothers. You know what I mean? So I hope I'm answering this question and expounding enough for you. But in short, yes, I believe you can. But I think it's more so about like core values. I think sometimes we go into I'm not married. I haven't been, but I've had quite a few relationships. I think it's just more so about what do we believe is important. Like respect, loving each other. Do we put people outside of our relationship first? Do we protect our relationship? Do we know how to speak each other's love language? Different things like that. I think that's a bigger part and more important than us having a doctrinal disagreement or not seeing things the same. Now, I will say this. I'm not sure if an atheist and a person that believes in a higher power of God, I'm not sure how that will work out. So I have a question mark on that piece. But as far as different religions, I think they can date or have a successful marriage.
Sister Keisha, what's your perspective on this?
Like Sister Kim, I do agree that people from different religious faiths can have a successful relationship. I also agree that I believe, as she does, like the principles of it. What we get caught up in is rituals. It's really not anything principle. How you pray, how you pay, somebody says zakat, this one says charity, one person says Allah, another one says Olodumare. They're all the same. Like God is universal. And so when you realize you're a part of that one thing, you should be able to see your way through that. We get caught up in rituals, and for me, I believe it's more so a doctrine of self-righteousness, that my way is the right way and yours is wrong, that messes up most relationships. Whether it's Christian or Muslim, when you get that self-righteousness, my way is the right way, and you move God out of it, then relationships, regardless of the religious backgrounds, are going to fail, because like I said, we don't look at, as Sister Kim said, at principles. What do I need from this person in my life? It shouldn't matter their religion. It should matter, you should have a list of what it is, or an idea of what it is that you want from that person. And regardless of their religion, if you're getting it, then that's all that should matter for you to be able to move forward and have a successful relationship, whether it's an intimate one or friends or whatever. Because you, like you said, you miss out when we're indoctrinated this way, that my way, being Kojic or Baptist or whatever, this is the only way. You miss out on a whole bunch of relationships, whether, like I said, they're intimate or business, or I'm not going to do business with him because he's a Muslim, or I'm not going to do business with her because she's a Christian. You miss out on a lot of things because of ritualistic things. I mean, like I said, God is universal, and we are all a part of that one thing. And until we really get that, relationships, period, are going to be shaky and unsuccessful. So that's my short take on, like I said, religion. That's, I don't want to mess up nobody's, be mean, but that's man-made stuff. That's man's attempt to explain God. That's what that is. And so when you get that in there, it messes up a whole bunch of things. But God is universal. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Lamar, what's your answer to the initial question, brother? What's your viewpoint on the initial question? Do you think that you off mute, brother?
Okay. I just wanted you to finish because I thought you was getting ready to continue to talk.
Do you think that people from different faiths can have successful relationships, and or do you think a person who believes in God and those who don't believe in any religious doctrine, can they have successful relationships?
Yes, I do, because we actually have a relative that is a Christian, and her husband is a Muslim. In fact, my auntie, she's a pastor currently now, but prior to her Christian journey, my uncle and her were already married prior to her converting to Christianity. And so with that being said, I knew numerous people who I went to the temple with that are Christian, that their spouse wasn't in the church at the time of them converting. And they've been married almost as long as I've been living. And I'm 42 years old, going on 43. So I believe it definitely is possible. And in some cases, I do know of a case where the brother has become conscious, and he follows after African spirituality. And unfortunately, his marriage right now is rocky because of that. You know what I'm saying? So in some cases, yes, and in other cases, no. That's my answer.
I'm going to open it up because this next thing is complexing to me. And I'm looking for our people in the viewing community to speak on this as well. Anybody can take the mic after I ask this particular question. This question vexes me, and I ask this question, and I get a multitude of answers. Not enough consistent answers to have a clue on what the definition of this word means or term. What does it mean to be unequally yoked? I'm taking the mic off for everybody, and whoever starts, I'm gonna mute everybody else. What does that mean? Explain it to me.
Okay, can I
Especially,
jump in? Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Okay, I'll jump in and say this. First, I think when we talk about these scriptures in the Bible, you almost have to do a history lesson. You have to understand the context, the culture, who they were talking to, all of that. Unfortunately, I didn't do study on it, so I can't give what whoever the writer was meant when they said that, right? Plus, that's scripture comes from the KJV. We know that's not the original Bible, or, so. Okay, now that we have that out the way, I believe that in short, it just means do we have the same core values, like I was saying before. Like there are some friends that I completely had to cut off because we were not going in the same direction. We just weren't equally yoked or had the same viewpoints as it related to what's important in our life's journey, right? So for me, that's how I take that saying or that phrase. I wish I could give a good example. Yeah, I mean, it could be the difference between one of my friends that feel like somebody else is supposed to take care of them, and they're kind of lazy, and they just let life happen to them. And then my viewpoint could be, no, you have to be a go-getter, and you control your life. Your life is not happening to you. It's responding to the decisions you've made, right? So if that's my viewpoint and somebody else has a completely different viewpoint, it does not mean we can't love them. It just means you probably won't be in my close circle. Okay, that's my answer. That's short. I'm done. Sister Lakeisha, Brother Amar. Yeah.
For
I was
me,
I was on mute. Mike was supposed to unmute me, but I think that was a setup. Go ahead, sis.
I mean, when you look at what that means. I don't know if you look in your mind and you think about what a yoke is. Usually an animal comes up with something around their neck. You know what I'm saying? That's what when somebody says I'm unequally yoked, you kind of think of being imbalanced. You may have more weight on your side than this one or whatever. But as Sister said, if you look at the doctrines that we're getting these from, then it puts into context. Now, if you're going down a path and somebody's going a different direction. I want to go left, you want to go right, or your thoughts. This is really about beliefs. Because you just have to be real about it. It came out of the Bible. I mean, I don't know any Quranic reference to being equally yoked. I do know it talks about, who you can marry, who you can't marry, as far as not, an unbeliever and all that stuff. But this basically comes down to somebody perpetuating that if you're not like me, if you're not a Christian, if you're not a Muslim, if you're not agnostic, if you're not this, then we're unequally yoked and we can't be together. That's basically what that comes down to. And for me, who does that benefit? We all black. Black people are not a monolith. We come in all shapes, sizes, ideas. As brother said, you have someone that's now, may have been raised a Christian. Now he's, practicing African spirituality or whatever. And that's a problem. Why is that? Because once again, my way is the right way. And even if we see people get into things, our mates get into things that develop themselves, and it may not be Christianity. It may not, I've seen Muslims or whatever, and their counterparts, grow into another arena. And now this person that you've loved and you care for, now that they're growing and developing another way that's not familiar to you, now you're unequally yoked. I can't do that because you don't believe as I believe. That's what I equate being unequally yoked to, is you don't believe the way I believe, so therefore we can't be together. But God is not the author of confusion. So then how do you reconcile those two thoughts? And what yardstick are we using to determine who's unequally yoked with who? This is your personal relationship. The minister said marriage is very important. It's half of your faith. And so you're going to allow someone else to dictate to you what you need. And like I said, when you look at that picture of being unequally yoked, you may only need 5 pounds or something. But you're going to let somebody tell you, okay, this person got, 2.2 pounds, he ain't good enough, or she ain't good enough for you. But maybe that's all you need is 2.2 pounds. You understand what I'm saying? So I think for us to always reference outside of ourselves, if we really believe that we are children of God, children of the Most High, then why do we allow someone outside of us to dictate what we need for ourselves? Only you know you, the God of you. You know you and what you need. And so I feel like as a mature adult, you should be able to say, this is what I need. This person has it. Let's go for it. Regardless to all of the other stuff. I just think, for me, I think it's foolish for us to look outside of someone or have some type of reference points outside of ourselves to dictate who is for us and who ain't. That perplexes me, Brother Michael. So maybe someone could address that for me. But that's my answer.
And beautiful. And I want brother to touch on it as well, as if he would like to, or address this one. We had a brother by the name, called my nephew, Sean Lewis. He had a question. He said just like that, I have a question. If you don't have if you don't have the same faith, who has the final decision on matters of the family in a marriage?
All right. The question: if you don't have the same faith, who has the final decision in the marriage?
On matters
On
in the
matters
family. Yeah.
in the family.
On
Well,
decision making.
I don't believe that's a cookie cutter thing. Because it depends on the relationship. You know what I'm saying? It depends on what the queen and the king has discussed.
Right. Yeah.
It really does.
I agree. Once again, if you have knowledge of money, you're the finance person in your relationship. That's your mastery. And maybe your wife is something, has another skill set, then that's your thing. That's where you lead at. You the finance man. But if you don't know nothing about doing laundry or cooking, I'm not going to push you in my kitchen to be messing up my family. That ain't your thing. So, we once again, because these doctors just said, men do this, women do this.
Right. There you go.
And so then we follow that. It should be the person who is the wisest, and you all confer about that. So if you have something going on in your family life, as a man and a woman, you should sit down and say, how do we deal with this? What is your wisdom? What is your knowledge? Bring this to the table, and we're going to come out of this and agree to move our family forward in this manner. Who cares who came up with the idea? Who cares who does it? As long as you all go out in a united front, why are we ego tripping to say, oh, what if the man's not qualified?
That's right. Go ahead.
You're gonna let your family go. You're gonna, submit to some foolishness because Christian doctrine or Muslim doctrine said man the head. Okay, well, you gotta have one to be one. If that's not your expertise, I'm not putting you over my money. If you know what I'm saying, we trying to budget and you balling out. Nah. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Right on, sister.
Right to that question. Whoever has the most knowledge and wisdom and understanding about the topic, let's sit down in the room. Let's hash it out, and then we come out as a united front to our families. Period. It shouldn't. I feel like in a real family situation, it shouldn't be, he over here, you over there. We're a family. Let's move forward with, a better understanding of what our roles are. And stop letting other stuff dictate. Because that's not working for us, okay? It's not working for us. That doctor's not working for us. It's not. So that's my answer.
And saying that, right, you touched on something, right? And we was going to keep this thing 1,000, right? You got certain religion doctrines that spell out gender roles.
There you go. There you go, bro.
Now, when they spell out different gender roles, and I don't know. Well, I'm lying. Study. I
Don't
study.
do it.
I don't want to speak on it as an authority right now. Um, is there difference in expressions in different doctrines of gender roles? And does that play a difference in how people perceive how their marriage should be? And could that cause a conflict?
Yes, because
Anybody?
you even have in Christianity, it says that a woman can't talk, in public. You understand what I'm saying? So, that's the only one I could speak on. Being a former bishop, I could talk about it. So I know the doctrine very well. And some women, unfortunately, are manipulated and controlled with that. Okay, I've experienced that firsthand. Some women being silenced, and unfortunately, they believe that. And they don't think about the other verse that says, if a woman prophesy, which that's a vocal gift. Okay, so how can she prophesy if she has to be quiet? So that's an oxymoron. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's a person's perception, because when you're teaching something, you're still inspired by the Creator. You still get revelation from the Creator. So in essence, you're still a spokesman for the Creator, because prophecy is simply you repeating what you hear, the Creator speaking to your spirit. So even if it's scripture, the Creator is revealing scripture to you, and you're simply repeating what you heard. So it's still, in essence, is still prophetic in nature when you look at it from that perspective. However, it's about the mentality of the person, because I never believed in that. I personally never believed in that. You know what I'm saying? And so to be frank with you, it's if somebody actually takes those things literally, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that's the reason why I don't believe it can't work if somebody takes those things literally. You know what I'm saying? Like, but don't be unequally yoked together. But but then you got another verse, right? And here's where the oxymoron come in. And I'm not trying to step on anybody's religion, okay? I'm just a myth buster. I'm just a truth teller, and that's just what it is. I love you, but I have to say it. Okay, in one breath, don't be unequally yoked. But then, according to the scripture, he said, if the person decides to stay, then let them stay. So that's the reason why, like the Queen said earlier, the confusion about, people following after opinion, because people don't pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? They don't pay attention to that part. Okay, don't be unequally yoked together with an unbeliever, but if they want to stay, let them stay. So which one is it going to be? That's the reason why it's a problem with religion, because it causes confusion. And I remember earlier Queen Kim said that she missed out on some good relationships because of that. You understand? Some people not only miss, but they lose because of that. I digress.
Okay, hey, you all. Oh my God. Woo! It's getting heavy up in here. I'm so, King Amar, I'm so glad you said that about it, really these gender roles based off of how you're, what religious belief you have. Typically, women are just completely shut down and can't have a voice. The people who believe in the Bible and everything, they quote that scripture about the Bible was written under the inspiration of God, right? God inspired these people to do all these writings. And so my question is, okay, did God not inspire any women? Because there's not one book that made it to the Bible that is written by a woman. So I'm like, oh, okay, so God didn't inspire any women, huh? He just inspired all men? Well, no, that's not the truth. Somebody was in control and in power and said, this is what typically men, and I love our men, but I'm just saying sometimes that can be an issue. Also, I want to go back to that about not being unequally yoked with unbelievers, because I did a live on this before, and it's coming back to my memory. I believe Paul is the one that wrote that. that book, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And what they were talking about was not about marriage or relationships at all. They were talking about, I believe, if I'm correct, people having the opportunity to freely worship God. And there were some people that were worshiping false gods, and they were being told, don't be yoked with them. Don't link up with those people. You can only worship the true God. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I did some study on that. So a lot of times we're taking these sayings in these scriptures, and it's not even talking about relationships. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sister. And again, family, I just want to read a couple things that the people are saying. Um, our sister Amani, Queen Amani said, Christianity says women should be silent in the church. Our sister Nikisha says that Christian men don't believe women can have a voice, which is backwards if they choose a woman to raise their children. Then we got Queen Mother, Sister Rhonda Harris down in New York, who says that, right, Sister Queen Lakeisha, sometimes people get locked into roles that the other state we are supposed to be in. Not true. The best person to do the job, financial, house duties, etc., in a relationship, marriage, should be allowed to carry on the prospective duties. So, coming to this point, you have people who are in the same faith that don't have successful marriages. And my question to that is that, okay, what happens to the yoke? If we're in the same faith, this should be almost done because our rituals the same, our practices are the same, according to the doctrine that we submit to. What happens to those who don't have successful marriages long term that are in the same faith? And don't get it twisted. That's success stories to support either argument. I'm talking about our demographic that are people who are going to the same house of worship.
Oh, right there he is.
I don't know what happened, but did y'all hear the question?
No, sir, you had dropped. No, you dropped off, Mike.
Yeah, right.
What happens to the people who marry in the same faith and don't have successful marriages? Who's supposed to be equally yoked? What happens then? What's the excuse there?
That
I
core.
believe it's multiple reasons. Go ahead, Queen.
Oh, no. I'm okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say. I think it goes back to. I mean, the marriage or the divorce rate is probably the same in the church as well. So yeah, I think sometimes we're just linking up with people because they have this doctrinal belief like we do, but our core values are not the same. Like Sister Keisha was saying earlier, if you are not good in finance, you shouldn't be over it just because you're the man. But if you have this belief that I am the man and I'm the woman, so I'm supposed to cook, but you're a terrible cook, everybody in the household got to suffer because you feel like this is your role. But when we fight to have that, we fight to have our way. This is why people who are have the same doctrinal beliefs still end in marriage or in divorce, because of some of those core things, and they're not flexible, they're not bendable. Like Sister Lakeisha was saying, I'm right, my way is right. Do it this way. There is no other way. Yeah, that's a recipe for divorce, in my humble belief. Thank you, King, for letting me get that out.
It's only right. It's only right. Sister Keisha, go ahead. Fire it up, sis.
I mean, like I said, religion, whatever it may be, just because you come into it, I had an elder tell me, just because you stand in the light of the sun, don't mean, that you get the benefit. And I think what happens is we feel like we come into, whether it's a club, a frat or whatever, we feel like we wear this title. I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a AKA, I'm a Delta, this like supposedly changes your whole inner being. No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It's so
Like there's
good.
some work that had to, it's not like, you put on an AKA suit or you put on an FOI suit and now all of the stuff and the experiences that you've had in your whole life that's messed you up is all of a sudden gone. That it don't happen that way. And people go through life thinking you can just put a title on yourself and do no work. That's not how that works. So you can be in the same religion and still be messed up. You can be in the same club and still be as crazy as hell. So being a part of these clubs and religions don't mean or ensure that life is going to be successful for you. It does say that you saw something in your life that needed to change, but there's still a significant amount of work. And I think that's where we are. We come into these relationships, oh, is she an MGT? And so then we have all this list of what an MGT is supposed to be. Oh, she a prophetess. And we have all of these expectations and ideas of what a prophetess is with really no real research. We just, somebody just told us something. And then we start checking out, does she do this? Oh, okay, she don't do that. Do he do this? Do this? And and we just, that's crazy. You be whatever you have to, like she was saying, core principles, your core value system. What is it that you believe? You have some people who don't ascribe to or prescribe to any type of organized religion, and they have successful marriages, relationships. They ain't got all this chaos and confusion in their life because, once again, they understand there's a universal principle. Whether you believe it or not, there's a universal principle, whether you want to call it God, spirit, whatever. And you must adhere to those laws, yes, whether you believe in them or not. Attraction, karma, all that stuff is real. You can believe in it or not. Gravity is real. You can believe in it or not. But stand on top of a building and go on and jump off and see it on it take effect. You don't have to believe in it. So those are the things that make relationships. Stop putting these expectations on people based on the title. I'm a man, so I'm supposed to do this. I'm a woman, so I'm supposed to do this. And then when you can't do it, you disappointed, you mad. Now you on Facebook bashing men and women because you got disappointed about some expectations that you set for a person that you didn't sit down and have a conversation with. Brother, can you deal with finance? How are you with children? Sister, do you want to be a mother? Do you want to be, you just saw, she was in the church and she was just a perfect woman. She motherly, she going to be nice, she going to be polite, she going to be all that, she going to pray with you, hold hands, she going to cook for you, rub for you. You thought because she was in the church, she was going to do all that. And you was just, didn't interview, didn't do nothing. Just, she in the church. Like seeing somebody in the library assuming they reading. No, they just getting in out the cold. You better interview somebody, find out some actual facts. But that's my take on it.
And Mike, if I may briefly touch on that. I believe that it's a misperception about because someone has similar beliefs that it means that they're meant to be. I'm going to conglomerate everything that everyone has said, and I'm going to condense it. One thing we miss is destiny. We miss destiny because the man and the woman can look like what you want them to look like. They can dress like what you want, so forth and so on. And some people still don't work because it's not because neither one of them are not a good person. It's simply because it's not meant to be. And so that's the reason why sometimes in America, let me just be frank about this too. A lot of times people get married by religious reasons, and guess what happens? It's not out of love, it's because of religion. I'm going to say it again. It's not out of love, it's because of religion. What does the verse say? It's better to marry than to what? Burn. So I don't want to burn in hell, so I'm going to get married because I know I want to have sex. So I'm going to do this. You understand? And people get married out of opinion, you know what I'm saying, rather than, you know, them getting married by their heart. You know what I'm saying? Them truly being in love with that person. You understand? They're infatuated with the religion. They're not infatuated with the person. And so because they're not in love with the person, you don't have any connectivity because of that.
That's good.
So,
Wow.
and look, family, in the sake of time, Barbara Clay has been saying some beautiful things. Our resident doctor, Stephen, been having some assisted beautiful things. And a lot of our guests in our community are saying some beautiful things. Please go in to revisit these comments, these questions, build a dialogue for the purpose of a greater understanding. Because I'm about to ask y'all some setup questions. And I want y'all to hear me clearly when I ask these setup questions. It's in particular with our people in our community. Get to typing away. These are setup questions. So what happens when you got people who have in their mind that they have different dietary law in a household? In their minds. I just gave y'all the hint for the setup. In their minds, different dietary laws. What about people who have in their faith different views on polygamy in marriage and relationships as it relates in their mind to their faith? In their mind to their faith. How do they get over those barriers? Dietary law, marital law, as relates to monogamous or polygamy. Now, I'm gonna let our brother go first on this one because I know on the second part of my question, the two sisters can get long-winded.
Oh.
So, brother,
True.
Well, you know, it's like Queen Lakeisha has stated. You know, it's all about the religion. You know what I'm saying? In that matter. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody that is Christian don't believe in polygamy. You know what I'm saying? Just like I know some people who are Muslim and they only have one wife. You see what I'm saying? I know people who are conscious like myself. You know what I'm saying? And I only have one queen. And my queen, let it be known, is enough for me. Okay? I don't need any more than just one. You know what I'm saying? I'm straight on that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we you know, we have had a question about that before. You understand? You know, that didn't work out well. The queen had to reserve herself when she was asked. And it wasn't by me. It was by another queen. You know what I'm saying? That had asked her about it. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
I'm just saying. You know?
I got her bail money. I got it.
You know, so I'm going to say this right here. Honestly, I don't know of anyone that actually has occurred to. So I couldn't knowledgeably comment on that particular situation due to what I just aforementioned. However, what I can say is this. The woman will have to accept that. Okay? She will have to accept that, you know, polygamous viewpoint. And I do believe that it can be a marriage ender because she don't want to share. You understand? And rightfully so. I don't believe that she's wrong, you know what I'm saying, for feeling that way. You know what I mean? And being that we're on that, I have to make this statement because a lot of brothers tend to say that, well, we're having polygamous relationships already because we're sleeping around with multiple women. No, you're not. In a polygamous relationship, it is a covenant, and the wives have that understanding, and they all have come to a consensus about that. And there's rules to, you know, the polygamous relationship. It's not a brother going around with his lustful self, okay, creeping on his wife, his fiance, or his girlfriend. That don't make sense because they don't know nothing about it. And if they did come into agreement, why they so mad? You understand? So I have to say that, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm into that on that one.
Amar, but address the other one too, brother Amar, before we pass it off to the sisters.
Well, if you
What
could refresh my memory on the second part of that.
the dietary? What if one person says that my faith say I don't eat pork, and the other one says, well, mine don't,
Okay.
and the pork become the offense in the house? How do they deal with
Okay.
that?
Well, you know, to be frank with you, man, I mean, I will only be able to give my opinion on that. You know what I'm saying? Because those two people have to work that out within themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's again, that goes back to viewpoints. You know what I'm saying? Now, I personally think that that's a foolish thing to end something beautiful like that when you have something beautiful going over some food. I mean, that's ridiculous to me. I mean, she's a good queen. You know what I'm saying? She does. I'm gonna just say this because I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm gonna just say this: she's a virtuous woman. Let me say that because you start mentioning certain things, and then the woman, well, was she a maid? So I'm gonna leave that one. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna hang myself on that one. I'm just gonna say virtuous woman. You know, so she. She a virtuous woman, so that's a foolish thing to let go of virtuous woman over something like that, man. I just really think that that's absolute, completely absurd. You know, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And that's what go back to what Lakeisha, I'm telling you, and the other Queen Kim said as well. It's just it's foolish, man. It's absolute foolishness, man. You got your children gonna be, especially as children involved. You got a child and the children going to be in a broken home over some meat? I mean, I pray that whoever out here listening who's going through that currently or even thinking about it will really ponder on that for a moment. You're going to break up your family, separate your family over some meat. No, man, that's That don't make sense to me. That's all I have to say about that one.
Okay, brother. Well, let's get back and sit on our seatbelts and let these sisters go at it. Sisters, talk about the
Are you ready
dietary.
to rumble?
Talk about the dietary and the polygamy.
Sister Kim, you want to go first?
No, sis, you go ahead.
Okay, so on the food thing,
I know y'all not running out of ammo over there.
no, on the food thing, because you have a situation where, you know, people come in, they're in the same religion or whatever the case may be. Like I said, somebody changes. It's about an understanding. I've heard of or been witness to a case where, you know, he's a minister, Muslim minister. His wife is Christian. They had separate cooking pots. His thing was he was gonna be the example. His wife was the cook in the home. He was gonna be the example. He was, you know, he made his food separately or whatever, but he never badgered her. He cooked for his children or whatever. So that's about you, because being a cook, being a chef, people eat for taste. That's something. I mean, that's programming or whatever the case may be. Whether you go from not eating pork to, you know, just fish and chicken, now you vegan, you just eating vegetables and whatever the case may be. So that's just educating someone. But you can't badger someone. You can't force anyone into anything. All you can do is show them the benefits of eating healthier. But to come in and, you know, she done made $300-400 worth of groceries, and you like, I'm throwing all the pork out in the house. You know, you got to get out. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's not wise. So the two people have to, like I said, if they come in and then somebody all of a sudden changes the diet, then there just has to be a conversation. Hey, babe, you know what? I'm not eating pork no more. You don't cook pork for me anymore. You know, and I appreciate if you don't cook that for the children. Now, if you want it, you know, that's fine or whatever. But, you know, and then eventually, by being an example or whatever for her or for him, I think they'll eventually, you know what I'm saying, out of love, they'll convert over, because you're putting forth a good example. But you come in and you just gonna crucify somebody based on something they've been doing for their whole life, you know, because nobody became vegan and vegetarian and stopped eating pork overnight. You just came in and was like, man, oh, no, you crave bacon, you crave pork chops, you craved all that stuff. But in an environment where it wasn't being done, it made it easier for you not to do those things. So with the dietary law, that could be worked out, but I wouldn't say sever a whole family because of that at all. Polygamy, that's a discussion you need to have before you get into the relationship. Like that should be a conversation before. You can't be like, you know, 1-2 years in, and then all of a sudden you pop up on your sister. The sister be like, you know, I really, you know, am an advocate of polygamy. What you think about that? Like, that should have been a conversation before, because you never want to take a person's choice away. And as Brother Amar said, you know, the reasons why people get into polygamy or entertain it sometimes is not the best reason. It's a lust-filled reason. You know, you having polyamorous relationships and you want to try to, you know, blanket that over with polygamy. No, that's, you know, and polygamy was done even in the Bible and the Quran. They were done in certain times. It just, you know, wasn't because you wanted to sow some oats or, you know, you saw, you know, cookie jar full of sisters and you was like, yeah, let me get a variety. That's not what it was for. Like, men were dying. There wasn't enough men to go around. It was some really, you know, serious stuff going on for polygamy to even happen. So since none of that stuff is going on right now, I think we need to put polygamy somewhere else, because no, we just need you to take care of the one that you got. Let's not talk about bringing in another one. That's just my opinion. But yeah, the discussion of polygamy, open relationships, whatever it is y'all gonna do, that needs to be discussed up front. That's like, yeah, that first couple of dates, you know. What you think about this? Because you drop that on me 3 years in, we're gonna have some problems. We're gonna have some problems. But that's my opinion.
Um, all I have to say to Brother Amar and Queen Lakeisha is ditto. And amen. Uh, yeah, I agree with everything they say. I share the same views. Now I do have some friends that have an open marriage, and they did not decide to explore that until a few years into their marriage. Um, I'm not sure, and I know open marriage is different than polygamy, but even still, some people, they evolve, they change, they get exposed to different things, and then they may say, "Hey, we want to try this out. Can we do this?" Even with the dietary thing. So I think the biggest thing is communication. Be it we talk about it before, or we are exposed to different information and want to try something within our marriage or while we're married. I think communication and just respect for one another, that needs to lead, in my opinion. But I would hope nobody would divorce over, like like Brother Amar said, over some meat. I actually dated a person that did not eat like any meat, and I did. But it worked out. We just cooked. I ate what I ate. He ate what he ate, and we had a beautiful. We were still able to have a beautiful relationship. So yeah.
I want to
Thank you all.
add to that too, that my queen and I, I'm a vegetarian, you know what I'm saying? So, and she eats meat. So I can honestly say that it could still work because I'm not going nowhere. She can't do nothing about that anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? She loves chocolate. I mean, what's good? Huh?
All right.
No, that's it, man. I just want to say it can work. It definitely can work, man. It's nothing hard about it. Just respect the other person's choices.
Yes, sir. And I thank you all for your comments. I'm trying to multitask and listen to you all, and I think I do a pretty good job of it, and watch our community responses. I will say this though, Keisha, I beg to differ to you on the times that we're in right now. We are at a time against the war of Armageddon we are already into. And if we look particularly at our people, we are no better time right now. Now, I'm not going to tell Brother Amar and somebody else, hey, brother, you need to go pick up another wife. But if we mention the time where we are losing our brothers to homosexuality, we losing our brothers to incarceration, we losing our brother on these war fronts of incarceration, homosexuality, and death in the streets while our little brothers ain't barely making it to 25. Whereas we are having our sisters have a gross imbalance of good men out there. And that's why I say to the sisters who complain, the problem comes up with the sisters say, there ain't no good men out here except for the ones I married. Then find you a good couple and settle down in.
You know what, Michael? So we gonna agree to disagree, okay? Because if you have a brother who cannot take care of the first one, why you gonna get a second one?
He knew what he was doing. He said that to stir y'all up.
Yeah, he know better. He know better. So
let me close it out by saying this, family. One of my brothers told me this a long time ago, and I want us to think about this. He says, your religion is not what you profess, it's what you practice. Your daily existence manifests what you believe. So you can confer on yourself a title. I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, I'm studying African tribal ways or whatever. But your daily existence bear witness to what you are. Other than that, you're just saying something that is empty. And when you start to understand this, religion is the biggest divisive tool in the world. God is not at the root of that confusion. He said, I have many people and I spread these tribes across the many lands. And he goes to a people when there's a need for a people. And because that need does not happen to be inherently in your life right now, it doesn't mean it's not someone else's need over in this hemisphere. Right? So we become gangbangers in religion. You know what I'm saying? We cripping it up in Christianity. You know what I'm saying? We mafia insane. It's Islamic. You know what I'm saying? We apostolic. Just get your crip walk on. All this foolishness, right? All together, because you're blinded by titles, you're not seeing the core value of a person. And this is what we missing the boat at. Are they a good character? Are they honest? What's their values? What's their systems of belief? Do they believe in self? It's foolish for a person to say that I believe in an outside entity and I don't have faith in me. That's crazy. That's crazy. I set up a question because in most religious doctrine, there's already a dietary law, and if people get outside of names, they're almost identical. That's true. Muslims didn't stop eating pork out of the Quran. They stopped eating pork out of the Bible. But you hear names, Muslim, Christian. Now I have to pick up a fight and I got to pick a side and stand on it. This is the insanity. So while we're looking at superficial things, religion, like Sister Keisha said it long ago, man-made, spirituality is the definition of God himself. Because in his indwelling spirit, he breathed life into our spirit to come along. So I should see the spirituality in you. Okay, brother, you don't pray 5 times a day. Cool. I do. But guess what? I'm not going to beat you up because you don't. In my 5 times, I just hope I got a couple prayers in there for you. Positively. Not because you're not something, just because you're my brother. You just got a little extra prayer going on for you because I do it 5 times. I hope you mention me in your 1 or 2 times a day. But more importantly, I hope that you act in accords to what you believe. And in all religious doctrine, there's one thing that's universal, even though the language varies. It says, do unto others as you will have them do unto you. And when you study different doctrine, that language might change a little bit, but the core principle is the same. Treat me like I would treat you, or I would treat myself. See? So we become divided in religion. I know some Muslim brothers who got a Christian wife, and they make it work. And the scenario is flipped. And they make it work. Why? Because the divisiveness is not going to destroy their unity and the commonality that they got that's complement and suffice the couple. So this is why. Not just Christians. I've seen it in them. That's why I seen my sister Molly said it. She said it right. But it ain't just Christians. It's not just Christians that got a whole lot of women that's single. It's a whole lot of sisters that's single in every faith. In Islam. In Hebrew Israelite. Why? Because you get so enamored and patriotic to a doctrine that you don't even vet what the doctrine is saying, and then you only take for granted what the person and the speaker is saying, and you don't challenge yourself to be out of the box thinkers. And this is what The scripture is for the husband and wife to come in dialogue and get an understanding so they can know what wavelengths they are on. And somebody's going to be stronger in one particular area than the other. And that's when you lend on each other's strengths and not put a magnifying glasses on each other's weaknesses. In that, you have to have honest communication, open communication. And I agree, Sister Kim. Sometimes you get people that was married. Yeah, the brother wasn't thinking about polygamy when he first got together. This is some cases. He went to the barber shop and he heard this intelligent brother talking. And damn, brother, that makes sense. Now seed is planted. It don't mean that brother was a liar. It's that it was something he was knowledgeable about in the beginning. That don't mean he was a liar. That knowledge came later. And it made sense. But you all are absolutely right. If you look at polygamy and you study it, not just for no self-aggrandizement of fleshly conquest, polygamy is a heck of a responsibility. Really. And this is why it's difficult in America, because we all suffer from post-traumatic slave syndrome. So we don't know who we are, whose we are, and goddamn, we don't even know our names. So when we don't know this shit, you trying to be a counselor and you crazy as hell. The woman looking for you for counsel and everybody in the house is crazy as hell. And I'm just saying this to you all to say this. Things can work when we have forget the open honest communication with another entity. Have it with yourself. Do a self-analysis. Where am I in life? Where do I need to be? How am I going to get there? Can I handle another person? I ain't talking about polygamy. I'm talking about the one person. Because many of us lack self-control. So if I can control me and my disciplines and my appetites, how I'm going to manage a marriage is a business. It ain't just this romantic, euphoric thing. It's a business. It's a corporation. It's a LLC. If you don't believe me, mess up with your spouse. And see how quick they have your ass in court suing your ass for half of your shit. Mess up with them. It's a LLC. It's a corporation. You better be on top of your stuff. But how do you be on top of your stuff? You open your mind to new trains of thought and you learn from them. You don't have to make everything applicable to your life, but at least you have that knowledge base to be able to make a decision instead of being so narrow-minded and cemented in thought that what you was taught by somebody who was taught by somebody who was taught by somebody who may have been wrong. Ask these questions. When somebody give you a term, go into it, vet it. What does unequally yoked mean? What does it mean? What does marriage mean? Break down the word. Have this conversation with a person that you're dating or courting and see if you're like-minded in that train of thought. But guess what? I don't want to spook you. Even if you're not like-minded, it's something that you can wrap your mind around and say, I get it. I might not agree with you in totality, but I get it. And thank you for sharing. See, we become so aggressive and wanting people to be like-minded, we shut the recessive person down. Now they won't open up because they don't want to fear of being stupid in your eyes, fear of losing respect in your eyes, fear of lack of agreement, and don't want to have any turmoil between you all. Open up, talk. If I had my way, we'll all close our eyes in the Black community, and we'll go off of what we have been historically taught, and we'll ask each other questions with our eyes closed. We won't have the Muslim banner on our head. We wouldn't have the Christian banner on our head. We'll have the spirituality, the real person on our head, and that's what we get to know. So, brother, do you believe in stealing? No, you don't believe in stealing. I don't believe in stealing either. Do you believe in killing? No, brother, you don't believe in killing? I don't. Well, brother said, well, I got a caveat to that. I only kill if you're going to mess with my woman or my daughters or my children. In that case, I'm going to kill. Well, then the sister said, brother, I like you. You're a strong man. Somebody that willing to die for me and my offspring, I can accept that. Go ahead, kill on. I'm polishing up your gun and polishing up your knife. Go ahead out there, soldier. Go ahead on. But to be a murderer for no reason at all. And murderer ain't just about flesh. You're killing people's spirits with your negative thought. You're killing people opportunity to really enjoy life because you have some type of influence on them. That's a murderer as well. So I say to you all, we have too many things that have been introduced to us in this Western hemisphere to make us divisive. Let's go opposite of Donald Trump and let's start tearing down these divisive walls in religions. Everybody, and Brother Amar can attest to what I'm about to say. When you study our African history, you had tribes marrying into tribes. They had different cultural practices, but when they studied it, the core values were all universal. And that's why you can see this tribe is marrying on to this tribe, and they know that they got good value systems, no matter what way they show their devotion. So I thank you all for coming on. I really want us to really grasp the concept because we get so patriotic over things, and in our patriotism, we become insulting. We insult other people's way of practicing because, like Sister Keisha said, you just want to be right. And I have a theory that I practice in my home with my queen. Baby, I don't care who's right. I want to get it right. See? And for those religion doctrines, yeah, you go through all the doctrines and you rarely see where they uplift the woman. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Muslim, but except that in the Holy Quran, that there's a whole chapter dedicated to Isa's mother. That's his original name, Jesus, Isa. His mother, Marianne, that's a whole chapter dedicated to him. But you talk about in certain Islamic countries, the woman is oppressed. The woman does have to walk 3 or 4 feet behind. The woman can't drive, can't work. That's not Islam. That's cultural. Don't confuse the two. That's not Islam. There's nowhere in the Quran where it says that. That's cultural. So I say that to say to us, any marriage can work. This is the part that I believe that some Christians chant. I believe it to be true. I think that a lot of people misunderstand it. How can two walk together unless they agree? I'll wait for it. You can't find me nowhere in that scripture to say how can two walk together unless they agree to be Christians? How can two walk together unless they agree to be Muslims? I'll wait for it. Go look it up. But look at the core principle of that statement. How can two walk together unless they agree? What are they agreeing on? Core values. Being a good person, of character, of honesty, of trust, of respect, of ethics. It had nothing to do with religion. We messed it up and put religion in it, and we justify our foolishness. And that's why we have a lot of people out here single. And they'll stand on it and they'll die on it. Well, Brother Mark said it earlier. It's best to marry than to burn. I don't want to burn. You know, I don't. Nobody got to give me no gonorrhea shots. No, no, no. I'm sorry. I don't want to burn. I like it when it's cool. I'm sorry. Mm-mm. Keep me up out the heat. So with that being said, family, I thank you all for listening. I really do. But more importantly, I mean this from the bottom of our heart. Our our subjects are designed for us all to get the talking. So when you all are communicating in the chats and all that stuff, keep it going. This topic does not have to end once the broadcast ends. Because something somewhere in this broadcast, somebody says something that sparks somebody else's intellect. Wow, damn, I ain't thinking about it like that. Or whatever. Keep it going so we can knock down these barriers and we can come together, husband and wife, by whatever name you call it. And I will say this, I am the crazy one, family. That's a belief system that I have. Now check this out, y'all. I'm gonna show you how God evolved me before I say that statement. I used to think like this, man, when I get married, I don't want nothing but an MGT. I don't want nothing but a Muslim woman. But my evolution have taught me this, and through life experience, I have had beautiful relationships with sisters that wasn't MGT. However, they were Muslim, they just knew it not. Because by definition, Muslim is only one who submits to do the will of God. I don't care what faith you in, you do that. You're striving to do that. However, I married a queen who most of you all see that I took her name, Shabazz, who was born in the faith. But that wasn't what bonded us. Is it difficult when you have different practices? It's only difficult if you make it. I'm fortunate that we understand and believe the same, but we have different trains of thought on what we believe, what we say we believe. As far as faith, we ain't totally in unilateral about that. That's where discussion comes in. But if this same woman that I married happened to be Christian, it was who she was that made me love her, not what she professed who she was that made me love her. So I thank you all for listening. Please support our sister on March 9th. She has a event in Chicago in Hyde Park. It's I think it's 1358 something on 52nd Street. And it's a panel event like this, but it's live, it's in person. Our sister Kimberly Purdue, our brother Amar, his wife, and he are going very hard, very, very hard, trying to unite our people in the way of business and agriculture and understanding group economics. He's taking it very serious. We're not no keyboard revolutionaries. We are actually out here active and doing it. So when we take the time to come out and do this, this is a part of the work. Sister Keisha, she has her own travel agency. But guess what, sister? If you didn't have a travel agency or nothing, the biggest business that you have right now, you are raising gods. There's nothing can compare to a mama that's raising children. Because that is what our wealth, that's our legacy. So our sisters, you know, come on now. Y'all got to take accountability, so is we. Stop messing around with fuck boys and dudes. Stop messing around with bad bees. Find you a king, find you a queen, properly vet them, and every king ain't meant to be with this particular queen. Sometimes I don't get along, even though y'all good people. Y'all don't fit. So find somebody that fits with you. How do you do that? open, honest communication. Take time to vet somebody. Once somebody says something, sit back and see if their actions match their words. Is it consistent? Don't expect perfection on nobody. You're not perfect, and don't put nobody in a light where you're not it yourself. Humility, loving each other. But if we got the power to forgive everybody else, we got our people right now, biggest kumbaya right now that's been programming their head. When slavery is over and it's not like that, and these people right here ain't the people that did it to us, they the benefactors. And they ain't saying, hey, guess what? We'll get out your way. No. They use the first law of nature, self-preservation. Why give up my spot on the throne to let you sit down? I'm going to fight for it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But you need to fight for your throne too and stop being apologetic about it. Which leads me to our topic. And hopefully we can have some of our wise brothers and sisters in our community come on and talk about this. I want to talk about Black history. People celebrating this month. I don't reduce it to a month, but while we in this month, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it and educate our people about some of the things that we have done. Pre-slavery, during slavery, and post-slavery. The things beyond the commercial stuff that they let us read about. The same old few people that let us read about. Even though they're great, we don't want to diminish them. But there's some other great ones that they don't want you to know about. Why? Because they'll spark you to really start loving yourself and a real revolution take place. So, yes, ma'am. Yes, sister. Every relationship has the opportunity to be successful if the two people are authentic and truthful about what their intentions are, where their goals are, and any problems they come up. If they establish it on communication, they can communicate themselves out of them situations. May God continue to bless us. I ask our sister Kim, sister Keisha to stay on for a brief after show, after broadcast talk. And next Tuesday should be brother to brother talk, and our brother Amar will announce it prior to Tuesday of what the topic should be. May God continue to bless us. Good night.